Happy Thursday, Sooner Nation, Surgeaholics. Welcome to the Sooner Surge, the nightly 9:30 live show, the podcast that tells it like it is. Jay, we're twinsing today with the latest Fan Stop apparel, elite shirts and apparel at the Fan Stop. This is the cream-colored hoodie. It's amazing, super comfy, especially out here where it's a little chilly out where I'm at. OU women in a battle right now, top 10 matchup against Texas. Really good crowd, it looks like, in Norman. What's up, Jay?
It does look like a good crowd, so that's good. I mean, it's even a better crowd when you consider the fact that students aren't there for college right now, so that's good. Playoff game today, Jerm. Notre Dame kind of handled that game pretty easily. So
they did.
So yeah,
I was wrong on Freeman. Freeman's really good.
Freeman's really good, and I think Hunter told me today what Hunter said I think was dead on. He coaches with an edge. I think a lot of people thought BV would have that when he got to Oklahoma, and he hasn't had the edge quite like Marcus. Marcus Freeman has a little bit of edge, but hey,
easier to have an edge when you're winning.
Exactly. One thing that's interesting, no bye team won.
No, next year, I was just talking to Kevin about next year, it needs to be 16 teams, the top 8 host, and then you get into this round.
I think the bye kind of hurt those teams a little bit.
Oh, that's absolutely.
Long time off, I think. And I think it might have played a role. Now, I'm not saying they win those games, but I think it played a role. Isn't it crazy? Arizona State, Texas is the best game in the 2 weeks so far.
Yeah, I didn't think Stockton played bad today. I didn't think he played that badly.
No, but guys,
they don't win that game with Carson Beck.
It doesn't matter though. You can say what you want about Notre Dame and who they played. Their defense is for real. Like they are really dang good on defense. Like their defensive backs are physical. They get some pass interference called, but they are physical defensive backs. Marcus Freeman coaches that defense up really good.
Georgia lost again because they couldn't stop the quarterback run game. It's been their Achilles heel all year.
Chester says he wants BV to be the greatest coach of all time, but I'm being realistic in my criticism. Program first, always and forever. Chester, I'm with you on that. Like, I love BV too, but it just hasn't been good yet. Now, hopefully it changes this year. He's got another year, so hopefully they win games.
It did seem to hurt Oregon. Oregon didn't play well at all.
Well, especially at the beginning, they got just steamrolled too. It was too early, man. Yeah, hit the like. Appreciate it, Lori. Thanks for joining us tonight, Lori. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Jerm, I think maybe the big news for OU football is couple things. First, you can't start without talking about Michael Fasusi. What he's doing. On 3 is just, MVP, you name it. He's dominating. People saying they haven't seen an offensive lineman play this well in a while. So that's great news. Can he start next year? Will he start? That's the question.
That is the question. I saw Aaron comment on Thunder Rolls. Yep, and we'll have a Thunder Live at 10:30 right after this. You can just
we're back, baby.
We're back. Thunder Lives are back at 10:30 tonight. Hey, Benjamin, I agree with your comment here, but here's the issue. He's the one that brought the staff in. That's where he's failed miserably.
Yeah. Fasusi, first round draft 2026, if he could enter. Yeah, he can't. And I think that's the same thing with Jeremiah Smith. People are saying, man, he'd be awesome right now, but he can't go to the draft yet. Chuck, it will not change if he keeps some of the. I agree with you. Chuck, I'm with you on this. Hey, Chuck, how about this? You ready for this? It may not change even if he gets rid of the certain coaches. It may not change. I don't know.
And speaking of coaches, I've not heard that anymore on Valai. I haven't heard about Joe John Finley, except that he offered a guy today who had 1 reception and 2 yards last year. He also offered that same guy tight end back in 2021 or 2022. So it's a guy that he had already offered before. I will say this though, about the kicker from Kennesaw State. Yeah, I get it. It's kind of funny, the Kennesaw State Pipeline Farm Club. And I get about the slot kid or the tight end. But here's the deal. The fact of the matter is both of those guys are backups and just bench guys and scout team guys and players. They're not ever going to see the field unless there are some drastic things.
I think the question is, but how many
you have to have guys that are willing to sit, Jay.
How many tight ends do you need on the roster, though?
I agree. I'm sure they're not giving a scholarship to this one, are they?
Let me ask you this. Do you think Do you think they're getting this guy for another death, or do you think maybe somebody's leaving down in the future?
I don't know. And I agree, Hunter. It is still a roster spot. Jay, it could be also. I don't know what Ben Arbuckle's saying.
No. Wait a second here. This is something I want to talk about. We've talked about it with OCs and should they get to bring on their own coaches. We've talked about this, right? And to me, the OC should also have a say in who you're bringing in on certain positions.
That's what I just said, Jay.
Yeah. Do you think that should just be the position group guy, or do you think it should be OC too? What's your opinion on that?
The OC trumps the position coaches.
I'm with you. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I'm with you on that.
I will say this. I see what Williams says about Notre Dame. Yeah, hey, Notre Dame goes and gets Riley Leonard, and look where they're at right now. I mean, listen, if OU lands Kendall Daniels and Marvin Jones, I just want everyone to think about that defense, how special it could be.
I agree. I don't think the problems.
And add O'Connor to that.
I think the defense will be good. My name says I thought it was competitive depth. Well, yeah, it's depth. It's depth. Maybe just say it's depth.
That's exactly what it is. But hey, Jay, yeah. I don't think anyone who watched OU defensively this year, and then to look at who they have coming back, and if they were to add Kendall Daniels, Marvin Jones, and the corner from Washington State, would sit here and say they're going to be worse on defense. I just don't think people could say that.
No, I don't think it will. I mean, hey, Jerry, I don't think there's a whole lot of hope on that. Who cares about the offense? Well, I care about the offense. The offense has to be a lot
He's being sarcastic, and I do think they got better on offense.
Okay.
They didn't get worse on offense.
No, you couldn't get worse than it was, but it wasn't any better. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying they will be worse. It's not possible to be worse. So they're going to be better. I mean, I've said before, they could be better on offense, just as good on defense. How many more wins does it get you? I don't know. That's what I don't know. Arbuckle will have the final say on whether Fasusi will start. Will it be BB? I think
it'll be beat him, Bo, but I think the OC still should trump everything the position coaches say.
Hey, I would like this, Clyde. I would like it. If he can put on a little bit of weight, I would like that move. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but I would like it. Would you like that, Jerm?
It all depends on how big he can get.
Yeah, and Chuck says these true freshmen that start for these big colleges really play. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and that's why, like, if Fasusi's good enough, he needs to start.
Man, I remember Beavers.
Yeah, I do too. BV going to run the offense too? No, probably not. Move PJ to tight end. That won't happen easy street. He's got to figure it out at defensive end. And now thinking this Marvin Jones Jr. guy, you would expect he'd be the starter opposite RMT if RMT's back, right?
Yeah, and Bobby, I would like for him to get 235 as a tight end.
Hey, Sooner Freak, what year did you play? What years? I thought you said it was mid-90s maybe, but
I think 235, 240.
Yeah, I'm not saying a ton of weight.
That's where I would want Ivan carrying.
You know who he reminds me of?
You saw it in some of the playoff games. Tight ends are blocking a lot of big dudes.
Hey, you know who he reminds me of? This is a really, and I'm not saying talent-wise, I'm not saying this, but build. You know, he reminds me of, maybe Hunter can drop this if he can find it. He reminds me of Kellen Winslow. He was not a massive, huge tight end.
No. He had some great clothes, too.
He was good, man. Kellen Winslow was good. I don't know his size, Hunter, but he kind of reminds me of this type of body.
Sooner Freak 29. Have they gotten better on the front line on offense? If they have, I've missed it. They haven't. I mean, they haven't brought anyone else in. By front lines, are you talking about – I'm assuming you're talking about all across the line. Look, Fasusi's going to be a freshman, but Fasusi's better than Spencer Brown right now, I promise you.
Foji probably too.
I mean, I would say talent-wise, they're going to be better. What's that going to translate? I don't know.
I'm talking Winslow Jr., Bobby. Kellen Winslow Jr., correct. No, I'm not talking senior guys. Come on now. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Kellen Winslow Sr. was a Hall of Famer.
I know. exactly. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious. Didn't I say Miami or did I not? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. Junior was good too, though, guys. Chester Senior was awesome, but Junior was good too.
Yeah, Junior was good, but had other issues off the field.
Hey, I mean, the Fasusi stuff, I guess my thing is, if he's that good, shouldn't he play as a freshman?
Yes, he should, Jay. Hey, Trojan Fight. I don't reckon. I think you may be new on here. Maybe you've been on here before. Appreciate you watching. No, Brent Venables hasn't been good.
Yeah,
and
nobody said it happened.
I saw your comment earlier about Lincoln Riley, how he beat 2 SEC schools. Guess what? Lincoln Riley's not good either at USC. They're both bad.
All right, so Winslow was 6'4", 240. And what's carry on?
6'5", I believe. 6'6". Touching
226.
6'6".
Yeah, so
I was right about 235, 240 is where he needs to get.
Yeah, I just mean Winslow was more used for pass catching as a wide receiver, not as a blocking tight end. And I think that'll be the interesting thing with Arbuckle's offense is see how he uses the tight end. Is he going to use him more for blocking, more for pass catching, or maybe I don't know. We got a long time to talk about it though. We got 5 months or whatever it is.
Yeah, and hey, I know there's people who say, well, he didn't even use a fullback at Washington State. No, he didn't. He rarely did, but here's the deal, guys. He's not going to he's got a lot of schemes he can run. He's going to go with what they got. I mean, I don't think he's tied into just one certain thing. He even said that.
When is the last day players can declare for the draft? We need to know something soon. Is it?
I agree.
Hunter, is it the 14th? That's not right.
15th.
15th. Okay, I was close. That's
Our
pretty good.
Mason Thomas has been on hush mode.
Let me ask you this: if they sign Marvin Jones Jr., do you think that's a sign the RMT's leaving?
No, you need one opposite him.
I'm just asking a question. I mean,
no, it has nothing, in my opinion, nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Can you imagine Marvin Jones on one end and R. Mason on the other, Jay? That's scary good.
Hey, Sooner Freak played in 95, 96. Was that Fuente years? No, Fuente would have been a freshman that year or something. No,
it wouldn't have been Fuente. Was it Garrett McGee?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I thought Fuente was around that time.
Hey, to me, guys, R. Mason Thomas and Marvin Jones Jr. bookending the defensive line, in my opinion, would be top 5 in the country.
I don't want to put any numbers on that right now. I just can't.
Go look at sacks.
Okay, I don't care. I'm not going to put numbers on
I'm basing it on stats, Jay.
January 2nd, I'm not doing it. DB, question mark. I don't know. Maybe he's asking for Sooner Freak what position. Hunter is not AI. Hunter is a person. Teresa, I'm sure you've seen him on here before. But yeah, it is kind of funny.
Eric Moore was.
He was your favorite player, Jerm.
Yeah, keep talking, Jay. You know he wasn't. Okay.
Eric Moore or DG, which one did you not like the most?
Eric Moore.
Yeah, I thought so. I remember
just because performance on the field, but it was beyond that. Top 5 D line, Benjamin says that would be. Yeah, I agree. Yep, there's also a fake Hunter, according to Ron, which means there's not a fake Hunter because Ron likes to drop those things. The management, consistency, and attitude I saw from Marcus Freeman, I need to see that.
Yes.
And here's the deal. When Marcus Freeman came into Notre Dame, South Bend, he had videos of himself running up the stairs. He had videos of himself doing this. And a lot of people said, I don't know about this guy. It's kind of cheesy. Well, guess what?
I said that.
Guess what? It's not cheesy when you win. Just like locking arms, soul mission. No one's complaining. No one's complaining if you win. But the deal is BV, in my opinion, has withdrawn his attitude and passion to me.
Swagger.
He's kind of harnessed it instead of let it out.
Well,
he needs to let it out, not harness it.
What I like about Freeman is
I'm not going to respond tonight. I already said that. So go ahead.
Freeman is he's got a little bit of he's a lot younger coach than Brent Venables. I'm sure he is very good with players. I admit after year 1 and 2, I kind of was like, I don't know about Freeman, but yeah, earlier this year I said I think I've changed my mind on him. He just seems like he's different. And dude, what he does at the defensive and the defensive backs, unbelievable. They are really good.
Yeah, Robert, I agree that position is a little bit of a concern. That's why I want Kendall Daniels. It gives you options with Sammy O. And then someone asked about how we became OU fans. We were born in Texas, actually, but our grandparents, everyone lived in Oklahoma. We grew up watching Oklahoma. We've always been OU fans.
There you go. Why didn't my post show up? Keith says. I don't know. I'm not sure, Keith, what you're asking. Did you put a question in here? It's not in here. Maybe I missed it. Go for it again, unless I missed it. Be careful, guys.
It has nothing to do with that, in my opinion.
Hey, Chuck. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it.
That's not what I was referring to, guys. Please don't misconstrue what I said.
Yeah.
Sometimes when guys go from coordinators to head coaches, they harness they have to feel like they can't be as passionate and outspoken. That's happened with coaches. I'm not saying BB's done all that, but
Ernie's
I don't
asking.
want to keep talking about it because people misconstrue what I say.
Kendall Dolby will be back next year. How healthy will he be? How will he return from that injury? That's what you have to wait and see. But he'll be back, Ernie. Thanks for joining us, Ernie. Appreciate it.
I agree, Chuck. It does need to be careful. I agree. And that's something that you just don't want to, talk about. Would you trade BV for Freeman right now? Yeah, the way they're playing, absolutely. Boomer for life now. Good job, guys. Robert Neff, thanks.
Hey, Freeman, and we don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but he seems like a guy that, and what I like about him is he knows defense and stuff, but he's got a defensive coordinator, he's got an offensive coordinator, and he's just running the whole show. He's a head coach. He's not running the defense. He's not running the offense. He's a head coach. And I think he does their staff is really good. Like, he's got a really good staff, I think. And
I will say this, though.
Yeah.
It's easier to kind of be like that when you have 2 tough games a year.
I listen, I know their schedule is usually harder than it was this year.
No, I'm just saying at a school like Notre Dame, you're not in a conference. There are some immediate hurdles that are removed.
Keith says, yes, who for sure makes personality regarding coaching, but it seems like guys who should have played didn't play much. And those, yeah. Well, Keith, I think that's a question that a lot of people have asked this year, specifically at certain positions. Running back, you can go down the list. There are different positions. So Clark says, didn't Notre Dame lose? Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hey, for everybody that wants to get on here and bash them for losing that game, that's fine. Then at the same time, you can't tell me Ohio State's the best right now because they lost to Michigan. So stop.
Hey, Chuck.
That's all I'm saying.
The
ones that say they haven't played anybody, what are you watching on the field to say they aren't any good? Like, tell me what you watch from Notre Dame today that says they're not any good. And I can understand you can say, well, they lost to Northern Illinois. That was so long ago. Tell me what you watch today, and it tells you they're not a good team.
Chuck is right. Freeman was criticized early.
I get so tired of everybody comparing like, oh my gosh, they lost to Northern Illinois. I'm so tired of that, man. It's ridiculous. Comparing one game.
Hey, Jay, you can't.
You beat Alabama. I guess Alabama.
Yeah, I know. It's the dumbest argument when people say, that means that Northern Illinois is better than Michigan, or that means that this team's better than that.
Compare games.
Upsets.
You can't compare games.
Upsets, man.
Ridiculous. You can't compare games. If that's the case, Alabama should never win a game again. They lost to OU. They got destroyed by him.
No one's criticizing him now, Bobby. Early in his career, people are questioning him. That's a fact. Hey, you only have to pass. You don't have to pass the ball, Mez. They ran the ball. They had the kick return. They won the game. They're in the Final Four. Jay getting fired up tonight.
It's all playoffs, all end of the year. People are like going to try to get in who's going to be in the playoffs. It was like, well, they lost to this team. Just tell me who's playing today and how they're playing. I'm telling you, Notre Dame's playing really good. They've been playing good for a long time. It's not like,
hey, no, Notre Dame, you could say they're healthier because they played less teams, but the deal is their best defender's out.
You know what bothers me the most? I'll say this. Hey, I was questioning Eric. You're dead right. I was, and I can admit it. I have no problem admitting it. Hey, I'm not breaking tables. Never slammed the table. By the way, I can go look. We can go back to maybe 2 months ago when I said Notre Dame is probably going to win the national championship. Okay, I was already watching them and seeing with my own eyes that they're playing pretty good. What bothers me is this. This is what really bothers me. Is you go through a season, you have ups and downs, you lose games. Okay, I'm not going to slam the table. I'm going to talk quiet. What bothers me is teams that keep advancing, right? It's like they get all the way to the semis, and the next thing you know it, they're going to be in the championship, and you're going to hear people say, they're not any good. At some point, guys, you got to say they're good. They're winning these games. I mean, they beat Georgia, who everybody thought would win. Everyone thought Georgia would win. How did they beat Georgia? Tell me how they beat Georgia.
I don't know. Would you take Georgia or Tennessee right now, Jay?
What?
Who would you take on a neutral field, Georgia or Tennessee?
Probably Tennessee. And
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would.
Go ahead and mark it down. What is the day right now? January 2nd, 9:51 p.m. Mark it. Hunter, book it, mark it, pin it, whatever you have to do right now on the video, please. Everybody in there right now, OSU. Okay, no, everybody in there. Ohio State. Ohio State's not beating Texas. Book it. Okay? All you guys that are on Ohio State's bandwagon after a couple games, not happening.
Hey, Jay.
I'll be wrong if I'm wrong. That's fine.
Jay, Notre Dame beats Georgia today with Beck. Stockton played as good as Beck had been playing. Not even close. I mean, they've been the same guy. They would have beat Georgia with Beck, I think. Yeah, I saw we were going to talk about it looks like OU's tied right now.
Hey, wait. Ha. Bobby, you had Kirby Smart in Georgia. Did you not?
Yeah, Bobby had Kirby Smart. So it didn't matter if the quarterback's out.
They're going to for sure win because Kirby Smart. I'm taking him every time.
Jay, Kirby Smart got out-coached by Freeman today.
So
he sprinted a whole defense on when he could have just walked the guys out there and got an offsides penalty.
Hey, here's my point about the whole thing. I think it's so funny when people lose games that they pick, but then they laugh at somebody else for picking a game the next week. Like, why are you laughing at me, Bobby? I just picked Notre Dame right. You picked Georgia. Come on.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. It is funny how people say that. You know, hey, Jay, the difference between you and me and a lot of people is a lot of people can't.
Once again, hey, put Bobby's comment up there. Bobby, I could care less how bad Texas won. I could care less. You know, go back to last year in the playoff game. Who won the whole thing? Who won the whole thing? Michigan, right? Didn't Michigan barely beat Bama in the semis? Yeah. Does that mean they're not going to win the next? I mean, I could care less about game after game.
You can't get into the barely stuff, barely this.
You know what matters is when you line up on the game they play that day, whoever plays better. You got to turn the ball. You can't turn the ball over. Doesn't mean anybody can beat anybody. That doesn't mean you're the better team all the time.
A lot of people, I guess, just don't watch enough sports to know that upsets happen all the time. I mean, and I don't even know what it'd be considered an upset next week. So.
Hey, by the way, don't even start with, Bobby, don't even start with me on this. I never said that. I was on the other side of that.
Actually, I said it, and Jason disagreed with me.
Correct. So,
hey, Jay, it's funny how Bobby and everyone can sit here and call things we say out.
Open the phone lines. Open the phone lines right now.
Open the phone lines right now. Call in. Open them. Hey, what's funny is, Jay, no one, I mean, I'm not even going to say it because I said I'm not going to respond to him tonight, so I'm not going to. So,
Mess. I'm not ignoring it. I was picking Notre Dame either way. I don't think Georgia was. I think Notre Dame is better than them. That's all. I think they're a better team.
A lot of people said it didn't matter who played quarterback. Georgia was going to beat Notre Dame anyway.
I just think this whole comparing teams and who
games
they play forwards. So in this instance, Penn State has no shot against Notre Dame because of who they beat. Boise and SMU, they have no shot, right?
You know my opinions. Football's football.
What is it?
Anyone can win, Jay. I'm not going over this.
Hey, the people that are picking Ohio State, is it because you're just OU fans and you don't like Texas? Is that what it is? I think that's part of it. People can't admit if Texas is a good team. I don't care.
Hey, Bobby, I don't have any problem with you keeping receipts on me. I do have a problem when I have receipts and I say it and still people can't admit they're wrong. It's just hilarious. I admit I'm wrong. I don't care. I'm not going to.
It is. Hey, Eric, thank you. That's my point. It's the eyeball test. Notre Dame is a good team. Eyeball. Hey, let's get to Keith. What's up, Keith?
Hey, guys. What I was asking, and I know you said most everybody does, but I was just curious, is Bill Bedenbaugh making decisions about who plays? Is it Joe John Finley? Was it BV? Was it Joe Castiglione? I mean, who is the guy that makes the decisions on who gets on the field and who doesn't? It seems like they're making bad decisions all the time. They're not playing good guys and they're playing bad guys.
According to Brent Venables last year, he says the position coaches pick who plays. Isn't that what he said, Jerm? I'm pretty sure he said that in a press conference. Like
that is
he lets the position coaches pick.
That is correct.
So the running back coach picks the running backs, and the receivers coach pitches the receivers.
It sounds like it. I don't know.
That's what it sounds
like. Picks the line. Well,
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It sure sounds like we got a lot of problems they need to fix. And I've said it before. I think Bill Bedenbaugh needs to go because the offensive line is consistently bad.
Well, they haven't been good the last 3 years. Now,
but he's got two good recruiting classes.
I will give him credit on the last 2 recruiting classes. He's got good players. Now, got to see him on the field, though. That's the thing. You got to see him on the field, and are they going to play? That's
right.
Yeah.
Just like you said, they played this rotational thing, and that creates all kinds of inconsistency.
It does. You're right. It does, Keith.
Well,
I mean, I wish I knew why certain guys, like why Xavier Robinson didn't play in the bowl game. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. That's a coaching thing, so I don't know. So,
well, it's frustrating when you watch teams like Notre Dame or Texas, and they just play like lights out, and they don't do all this rotation stuff, and they're consistently good.
Yeah, it's got to get better, and it's got to get better ASAP. All position coaches. I mean, outside, specifically on offense. I mean, offense, you could pretty much go down the list, and they need to get a lot better, period. Yeah. And we'll see if they're even there. I mean, who knows? People are saying there might be staff changes. I don't know if there will be, but hey, thanks for the call, Keith.
Hey, thanks. Hey, right, Jay, I've got to respond here. Look, no one's arguing that Ohio State hasn't looked unbelievable these 2 games.
Oh, hey,
wait, Jay. Wait. 3 weeks ago, no one said Ohio State. When they lost to Michigan, no one said it. Now, right now, they have looked the best. But you can't say Notre Dame hasn't looked really good. And all I'm saying is you never know week to week. You just don't know. It's the same people that said Texas was going to run away from Arizona State when it was 14-3. And guess what? They went to overtime. And, hey, I've got to address something because I don't want to be known as this. To sit here, Bobby, and say that we are here to bash our viewers.
I'm not bashing anybody.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't ever bash anyone personally. I am bashing some takes. It's absolutely ridiculous, dude. Like go elsewhere then. If you don't like it, leave.
Jerem, listen.
I'm done with it, dude. I don't bash people. I don't bash people. I'll bash some takes, and I thought that's what we do here. We tell it like it is, dude.
Sometimes you don't stop talking. Let me talk for a second. I have not bashed anyone. All I'm saying is I think Notre Dame's good, okay? And the ones that think Ohio State is the best, playing the best right now, you may be absolutely right. They're playing great. I admit that.
No one's denying that, Jay.
I'm not denying that. I just think it's funny when people laugh if I pick Texas to beat Ohio State. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Anybody that watches this show knows that I'm wrong probably 80% of the time. So,
and by the way, Jay, anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
I don't want people to leave, but if you're going to sit here and come on here and say that we just bash people, I'm sorry. I don't try to do that. I was just getting passionate about because
It wasn't even towards any person. It's all for the last 5 weeks in college football. All I've heard from SEC fans are, well, this team should be in because they beat him. I'm so tired of it. Like, go win the game. Ole Miss beat Florida and you're in the playoff. I'm so sick of it. Well, we beat blah, 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 blah. You lost to Florida with the chance to make the playoff, Lane.
Hey, Jay, why would you pick Notre Dame if Ohio State's been playing the best? Because upsets happen, man.
Hey, I didn't say they're playing the best. I said, if you think they're playing the best, that's fair. I think that Notre Dame's playing really good myself. And I think Ohio State, Texas is going to be a great matchup. And Ohio State could beat Texas. Texas could beat Ohio State. I'm picking Texas.
Yeah, okay? I don't understand why everyone thinks that it's just automatic wins. That's the part I have the trouble with.
I don't know.
This is football, man. This is football. It's
really
fun
care.
to watch. It's fun to watch. It's fun to argue about. Again, I'm not here to bash any one of our viewers. I love having our viewers on here. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to I'm not even going to address him. Well, let's talk about something else then, Jay. Ohio State's going to bash Texas. They might bash Texas, guys. Texas might beat Ohio State. That's just the way it is. It's football. What's the update on the Sooner women basketball? Hunter, can you drop one in here?
I was trying to check the score on it, but I can't find it. So, 66-62. Yeah.
Nathan, it's not official. Nothing is official on the nothing's 66-62 Texas. Nothing is official on the DC. It's not, hasn't been announced. There's been a lot of talk about it. The other big news is that Kendall Daniels and Marvin Jones Jr. on campus, which would be two great gets on defense.
Yeah. So
we got Coconut.
What's up, Greg?
Hey guys, we're all maybe a little excited and passionate, a little fired up tonight. So
I'm fired up. I went over the top probably. I get so tired of it. Like comparing scores in game 15 of the year. Who cares what happened in week 2? I don't care.
Listen, you're just living out the moniker of this podcast. You call it like it is. That's what we do. It's all good.
We all have different opinions, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it fun, too. But I thought I'd get y'all's opinion on this. There is a defensive back on Ole Miss who's playing in this bowl game tonight. He entered the transfer portal and already committed to another team, but they're still letting him play today. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I hate it. I said it last year with OU. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Unless you're just totally needing it to win a game, but again, it's a meaningless game. Who cares? It's
this guy, Ole Miss is rolling right now. They're up by close to 40 points. There's no reason he needs to be on the field right now for them, but it's like, really? Like, the guy committed to Indiana already, and it's like you're still letting him represent you. I think it's silly as well.
Hey, and Greg, I see Hunter put in here about Tolly Walker last year. The difference is Tolly Walker had not committed to another school.
Yeah, he hadn't committed to Wisconsin or wherever at that point, if I'm right.
Yeah, and I think Chuck says it right, Greg. I think this is right by Chuck. I think it depends on the relationship. I mean, who knows what's between that kid and the coaches? Maybe he's like, I want to honor it and play. I don't want to leave on a bad note. I'd like to honor it and play in the game, finish out the year right. I don't know, you know.
I mean, I can understand
that when they've already committed somewhere else, Jay.
I could understand that he had maybe he's declaring for the draft or he's graduating or something, but you're on another football team right now. Get out of the locker room and pack your bags. Like,
well, I think the deal is when does he enroll? Like next week or something?
Probably. I'm not sure. But
I mean, yeah.
What's the score on that game, Greg? What's the score?
Ole Miss is 45, Duke 7.
Yikes.
They're
the moment you commit to another team, you're on that team in my book.
Agreed.
Yeah. Hey, that's all I got.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Jackson Dart should go. Oh, Jackson Dart will go way above Jalen Milroe.
I think he should. I mean, I don't know. I think Milroe depends on his pro day and stuff, how that goes. I mean, I think he's just inconsistent. Sometimes he looks really good. sometimes he doesn't look that good at all. So I think he's just a little inconsistent. Does Alabama recover from this season? I think they have started this light. Here's what I say, and I said this in the Discord the other day, and you can't base it off 1 year. I think Eric said that, and I agree you can't. I think two things are true. I think anybody following Nick Saban is going to be very tough. And I think with NIL and portal, it's open. There's more parity and stuff. That's why you're seeing some like other teams that are pretty good, because it's just not going to be 1 and 2 or 3 teams. I think there's going to be 5 or 6 or 7 teams that can be really good. Now, are they going away? No. But are they going to go away from winning natties every other year? Yeah, that's not happening again. I don't think that's happening again with anybody, though, to be fair.
Sooner women are tied up. Timothy thinks Alabama will never be the same. I won't go to that extreme at all, because any team the next year can be. I mean, you're talking 12-team playoffs. Alabama's going to probably have a chance of being there all the time. OU, Texas tied up. It looks like OU up by 1 right now. Massive top 10 showdown at LNC.
Yeah, no one's safe now in college football. Aaron, you're right. I think parity's real, NIL's real, but you know what? It wouldn't, even if say next year Alabama goes 9-3 or 8-4. I don't think Alabama's ever going completely away. I just think they were so good for so long, and DeBoer's not going to be able to do what Saban did. He's just not. I think they're going to be inconsistent. I don't think they're going to have when I talk about the recruiting classes, they were always like 1 or 2. I think they'll still be good, but I don't think they'll always be 1 or 2 every single year. I think they'll be still top 5.
Correct, Perryman. OU did not have a legit consistent playmaker. And next year, who is it? I guess it's going to be Mateer. I mean, that's what I would say.
Well, it's going to be, but they got to have more than just Mateer. They got to have a lot more than that.
Hey, the rumor is that Wes Goodwin could be the guy, but I don't think any Sooner fan would be shocked by that at all. That's probably what's expected.
Texas up by 2 now, so there you go. OU went from being dominant and getting a new coach and can't beat a fly off their shoulder. But other teams weren't any good. They get a new coach and are beating everyone. I guess that gives you hope that if you have the right guy, it can be fixed.
Correct. That's what I was saying.
I mean, it can be.
Jackson, I don't know why he hasn't been offered unless he doesn't want that. And I know Bobby has said that before, that he just doesn't think he wants it. That's the word he had. Thoughts on our secondary? Well, Eli Bowen's one corner. The other one right now, I would say, is Jacoby Johnson. Can Dolby get back and play corner? He could. Do they get the guy from Washington State? I mean, yeah, I think so. Would he start, Jay, you think?
I don't know, man. It's January. I can't pick who's going to start in January. I have no clue. I don't even know who's going to be on the team. They still have spring portal. I mean, who knows what could happen? It's too early. Just like people already picking records for Oklahoma. Give me a break.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people out there picking however many wins. There's no way now you could sit here and you could probably sit here and say 6 and 7, but the ones that are saying 10 and 11 wins, what are you basing that on right now?
Yeah, I don't see how, Jay.
I mean,
Gentry.
It could happen, but I don't know how you can base it.
Guys, I can't talk about Gentry Williams till I can see that he's going to be back healthy for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So,
what would you guys think of delaying portal?
The problem is semester starts, Keith. They
Yeah,
have to be in school like by January 16th, so they couldn't.
Well, you can transfer 5 days after your last game, though.
Right, but that just doesn't leave much time, is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm saying if you're in a bowl game, you are delayed because you can go after the game. But
correct.
I think he's saying in general for all of college football.
I mean, you got guys that are playing in the bowl game, like Devin Brown, the backup quarterback for Ohio State. If Will Howard goes down, he's playing in the semifinals, and he's not going to be there next year.
Yeah, Penn State guy left, though, didn't he?
I think he's still on the sidelines, Jay. He's their backup.
Oh, I thought he went ahead and left, but I may be wrong on that. Sounds like Beers might be having a good game. there in Norman. Pick an online class. How many classes do you think they actually go to now in college? Do you think most of it's online? Probably. I bet it is.
Oh, probably 80%, Jay, go online.
I would
Probably,
think there's a lot
that's probably
online.
too high of a number. OU is down by 6 right now. Man, not a good fourth quarter.
Hunter has 2 out of 5 right now. I didn't like online classes.
Jay, do you think OU gets Daniels and Jones? Your opinion?
I'm going to say 1 of 2.
Do you have a preference? Bigger
No,
names?
either one. I can't just admit that I can't say they're going to get both, but I can say maybe one. What's up, Greg?
Thought I'd give a little insight on like how much these players go to class and whatnot. So this is a little bit different, but when I was in college, I worked in one of the computer labs at school. Now this was at the University of Central Oklahoma, so not OU, but I think it would be similar to this. But I would run one of the study halls for the football team in the computer lab that I worked at. And almost all of the players that were in my study hall, they only had 3 classes at a time. Like during the main semesters, your spring and fall, they only had 3 classes, but they were pretty much always in school all year long. So they would do intersession classes, which are like during the breaks.
Right.
They would take a class. They would always do summer classes as well. So they were basically all year long in school technically, but they were only taking a few classes, whereas, the other students were getting, the breaks and whatnot. But it was a way for them to have just a lesser class load all the time, but they were still getting in all the appropriate hours you're supposed to have to graduate. Now imagine the guys at OU and all these other schools are doing something similar to that.
That's a good point. That's what Hunter says. Great point, Greg. They have to be enrolled basically all year to play. So like you're saying, they're taking classes constantly. Yeah.
And I imagine it's got to be at least similar there. But yeah, they're like right during the season, they might be taking 3 classes. But yeah, that's all I got against you guys.
Greg. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you.
I have a buddy, Jay, that used to kind of follow football players around to make sure they were going to class. That was his job pretty much.
I wonder how many he didn't find in class. Probably quite a bit.
Hey,
formerly known as Joe MC Part Due says, how many wins does Oklahoma's men's basketball get in conference? I'm going to go with 9.
9-9?
I'm going to go with 9.
I'm going 10-8. Hey, fan stop. And by the way, these right here, you guys said you love the twinsies tonight. This is fan stop merch right here. Cream colored hoodies. They're great. Thefanstop.com. Check them out. And he's saying 25 turnovers for the ladies. And someone else said they're falling apart. Jay, that's been their weakness all year.
That's kind of been their weakness. Even though they've been winning, they've been turning over a lot. And now it's going to come back and bite them in a game like this because you just can't turn the ball over that much and win games like this.
Hey, what kills Jackson is it's a home game.
Yeah, it's a home game, man.
You cannot lose to Texas.
Really, your first time you're in the SEC and it's like, boom, let's go, and then get the loss. It is annoying. It's a loss. They got to fix it and they got to move on. They got to bounce back. The SEC is difficult, so you can't just dwell on one game. You got to bounce back.
Jay, when I'm looking at the two guys, and someone hopped in there and said Wes is coming. Wes Goodwin very likely might be the DC at OU. I don't think it does anything for me as far as, I said this, rah, Siskoon ball. I'm not getting psyched up about it because it doesn't matter how good of a recruiter is if BV's not here more than 1 year. Second thing is, it just tells you what you already know. BV's going to be calling the defense. And that's fine. Call the defense and do your best there because everything else is going to have to get better on the other side, and he's not going to be able to help that side probably. So,
yeah, I see people talking about the depth, who they're getting, not happy with it. Maybe he will just be a position coach. No, he will. Goodwin will probably just be a linebacker coach and help on the defensive scheme. I don't see him calling it. If that's what you're saying, Sooner WSX.
He is not committed. He is not committed. But if you remember, before, OU was really big on him early out of high school. I thought he was going to OU out of high school, Jay.
Well, he was big on OU. I think wasn't he in his final two? I think OU was in his final two.
So I don't follow recruiting that
So
much.
it was already like they had a chance to get him.
What's his size? What's Marvin Jones' size? 6'4", 6'3"?
But didn't he have a disappointing year this year at Florida State? If I
He had
remember
4
right?
sacks, I think. 4 sacks.
Did he? Yeah, I think they were expecting a lot from him, and he didn't do it.
Everyone was disappointing at Florida State.
Well,
what was R. Mason's sack total this year? 8?
I don't know off the top of my head, Jerem. 6'5". His dad coaches the pro team in Tulsa. I didn't know that.
I was wrong. I thought 6'4", 6'5", 255. You got him on one end and R. Mason on the other, man. It is very good. Yeah, 4 sacks.
Our perspective on the backup defensive coach now is crazy. What are you saying, Aaron? I'm confused on what you're asking.
On the backup defensive coach.
Are you talking about Goodwin? Perspective on Goodwin?
Yeah, and hey, you're right. The SEC is not looking great in the bowl season. They're not. I mean, Texas is holding their own right now, barely.
Yeah, he's asking about because Goodwin. I just and maybe I'm wrong. I didn't watch much of Clemson this year. I just listening to some Clemson people, they weren't really high on Goodwin. That's the thing. They didn't like the way he was calling the defense. So maybe if he comes in and does more of coaching part of it, yeah. But I think Brent Venables is going to call the defense. I just do. I don't think he's going to put that in anybody else's hands.
Well, especially if he knows if it's his swan song. I'm going to go out and do that too.
Hey, let me ask you this.
What are the chips that are slowly – are you talking about Mateer and Arbuckle? And if they land – now, I agree landing the 2 defensive guys, 3 guys that they might get would be massive. I saw a Michigan D lineman hit the portal today too. You got Trey Williams from Clemson that's in the portal. I mean, they could get another guy on the defensive line as well, and I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
I doubt Sammy Brown would come to OU, but he's unbelievable if he were to come. I mean, he's unbelievable, but
he's really good, but he's not coming to OU, I don't think.
No.
But I mean, don't take what I say as gold because it's not. Big Ten is now the best. Big Ten it looks like the best conference. I would agree with that, Todd. It does. It looks like it from my perspective, just watching games, but who knows? It depends on who you play sometimes. I mean, Oregon kind of got screwed. We all talked about it. They got screwed in their matchup. Penn State got a cake ride. I can admit that Notre Dame, they played Indiana and then they played Georgia with their backup quarterback. I can admit that, but I don't think Georgia was beating them either way. I just think Georgia's not what they used to be.
Beck hadn't been good, Jay, this year.
And Notre Dame's been really good. So,
OU has been months into.
I don't know what that means, Ernie. Not sure on that one. Texas had an easy schedule. I agree compared to OU. They had an easier, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They're still winning. They're winning games. Their only losses were to Georgia. They are in the playoff now. They've now won 2 playoff games. Okay. They beat Clemson. They beat Arizona State. I know they're not gangbait, just great teams, but they still won the games in a pivotal playoff atmosphere. They won the game.
Hey, Ron, it didn't work out. I thought the Kingpin reference was when I heard Munson, but I wasn't for sure on what it was about. Jay, Roof didn't work out, but also Roof, guys, Roof wasn't at a Power 4, was he?
He's been. What do you mean? He was at Clemson before.
Was he at Clemson right before he came to OU?
Not as a DC. Are you talking about as a DC? He was at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech was where he called the defense.
Yeah, he called the defense at Georgia Tech.
I'm not saying this guy's better than Roof, Jay. I don't know. I think he's probably a better recruiter, but that doesn't matter. Vandy is where it was.
And Michael, a lot of people have talked about this today specifically too, about the grind doesn't help these teams out, but that's what you're dealt with. I mean, and I get it, Texas is still playing. I know they didn't have the grind, but they did have to play the SEC championship game, which was an extra game. So against Georgia. So they had to go through his extra game. And I mean, so I don't know.
Ted Roof didn't work out, period. I mean, it just didn't.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And hopefully it works out next year for Oklahoma. If not, then they'll be trying to figure out who to bring in because BB's got to win games, period. Has to.
And really, I say Roof didn't work out. Roof wasn't calling the defense.
No.
We all know that.
Nobody thinks that, do they?
Roof had to be let go because of it was Venable's jobs on the line here. Same reason with Latrell. He just hasn't made great hires at all.
Tom, what is your point, Jay? They played nobody all year long and should be applauded. Yes, they played two good teams and lost both. My point is this, Tom. They're still playing.
Who?
Texas. I don't care who they played. They're still playing, guys.
Yeah,
Here we go again.
And Jay,
how many teams are left?
4.
Is Texas one of them?
Yes.
So what's the argument? Like they're still playing. I don't care who they played before. They're still playing.
Jay, it doesn't matter who they won or lost to. It doesn't matter because anyone can win. I guarantee you this. Anyone can win next weekend.
Yeah, out of the 4 teams left, anybody can beat anybody.
It's always that way. It's football.
Well, it's not always that way.
Yeah. I would love to have a Jimmy Chitwood. What number was he, Jay? There's a trivia for the night.
Jimmy.
What number was Jimmy Chitwood in Hoosiers?
There's the trivia for tonight right there.
What number did he wear? What number did he don for the Hoosiers? For Hickory. What number did Jimmy Chitwood wear for Hickory?
Tone Low says 12 or 15. I don't know it, Germ. So you have to, when you see it, you have to.
Correct on one of those. I thought it was 15. Better correct me if I'm wrong, though, man. I may be wrong. Maybe Hunter needs to look it up. I didn't think it was 12. I thought it was 15, but 12 was one of their guards. The Big 12.
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, someone said 15 earlier. Tone Loke said 12 or 15. I said I'd give it to him.
15 it is. There you go. Tone Loke with it tonight. Oh, man. Been a day. Hey, let me say this. I know I got loud earlier. I don't always get loud, but there's been a lot of people at work, different places, bashing teams that it just baffles me. Notre Dame's a perfect example. I had so many people tell me today Georgia's going to roll them. And then Notre Dame wins and they move the goalposts and say, well, Notre Dame hasn't played anybody. They're not any good. Then why would you pick Georgia? Why does everybody get mad for Notre Dame not playing anybody? Why are you picking Georgia then? If they're not, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Ernie McCracken. I remember Ernie Abercrombie. I don't think low post play will ever come back. And hey, I'm not going to apologize. But I will say this. I will say this before we close. I do appreciate every viewer we have on here. I will not change as far as going back and forth and giving my opinion and you giving your opinion. I don't ever want it to be like I'm bashing people because if that's what I'm doing here, I'll gladly bow out. I will gladly bow out if it gets to the point where I'm bashing people. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm doing. It's never an intent of mine. But, people can come at me every night and I let them. I allow it. I show up every night. But, man, if I'm going to also give it back to some people, you got to be able to do that as well. That's kind of what we do there. Hit the likes. We do have a Thunder Live right after this. So we'll be on right after this at 10:30 for a Thunder Live, and we'll be back here tomorrow night to talk more about whatever you guys want to talk about. Hit the like before you leave. Check out the Fan Stop at thefanstop.com, and you can match us as well. We'll see you next time.